Apple cider vinegar benefits. Is there such a thing? Well, if you've been looking on the internet, you see that there's probably more claims and more anecdotal evidence and more confusion and more disagreement on apple cider vinegar than just about anything else out there. So are the benefits real? And if so, what does it help with? And how does it work if it does? Today we're going to explain that, coming right up.
Okay, and I'm the Don, and this is the Don Speaks. During a response video, I watched this video, and I've liked it so much I wanted to get out and have some responses on it, and also have it for family and friends. Been doing some health stuff and some Bible stuff on my channel, and I've really liked this guy, Dr. Ekberg, and I have others that I listen to. So I wanted to listen to him and stop and comment on some things. I won't be playing this entire video. It's 23 minutes long. I will put it in the link. You can, watch it on your own. Not that I don't like what he has to say in the second half. It's just that most of the stuff I want to comment is on the first. So here we go.
Hey, I'm Dr. Ekberg. I'm a holistic doctor and a former Olympic decathlete. And if you want to truly master health by understanding how the body really works, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss anything.
And subscribe to my channel. Shameless plug, I know.
Apple cider vinegar, the benefits, ACV for short. First of all, what is apple cider vinegar? Well, if you take sugar and you ferment it with yeast, you get alcohol. And then if you add certain bacteria, certain microbes, you get acetic acid, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a pretty strong acid. Now, when we say strong, that means it's stronger than a lot of acids, but not necessarily as strong as some. So the strongest acid in the body is hydrochloric acid. And even though acetic acid is pretty strong, it's not nearly as strong as hydrochloric acid. So we'll talk about those also. So if you're going to drink apple cider vinegar, then you want to use raw, organic, unfiltered, with the mother. And why?
And I'm going to stop and say that one of my reasons for doing this, let me play a little bit more for you.
Why is that?
Is because I've been on my weight loss journey. I've done a lot of videos on weight loss, and you're constantly having to learn because your body adapts. That's where I go to, is that you can't really, there's no magic bullet that works for everybody, and your body will adapt. I've had people, I did carnivore for a while, and then my body adapted. And then I did keto for a while, and my body went, I see what you're doing there. Then I would do all kinds of fastings and things, and the body will adapt. And then as you're getting older, also, he's going to lean into that, your body will adapt. So you're always studying. I've got other guys I listen to. I'll name drop Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. John Bergman, Dr. Sam Robbins. These are just three more guys that I listen to, along with Dr. Ekberg. I've been doing apple cider vinegar. This was full a week and a half ago, and I do a little bit of cap full plus water, an 8 ounce, once in the morning, once in the night. The idea is to stimulate my digestion. So this is my reasoning why, and he gives some great information, and I'll get back to the doctor.
Because a lot of the benefits you're going to get regardless, but the reason you want to use that is because it's natural. It is derived from a whole food, from organic apples. If it's raw, that means it's unpasteurized. If it's unfiltered, it means they haven't messed with it. So the mother, that's the solid stuff that remains behind in the vinegar. Even though it doesn't have any specific benefit in itself, it tells you that they haven't messed with it. You're still having the whole unfiltered product that was a result.
And I wanted to move up a little bit here. Again, I'll put the link for the whole thing in here, but I didn't want it to get my video to get too long.
Be a little bit of enzymes in there. So
Okay.
before we dive into the claims and all of that, we would just want to understand a little bit about the digestive tract, your gastrointestinal system. What is the purpose of your GI tract. Because a lot of people, there's so much emphasis in nutrition about what to eat, what to put into your mouth. But there's not so much focus on how is it going to get from the mouth into the cells? How is it going to become tissue? Because we can't use it, we can't absorb it if we don't break it down first. And that is the purpose of the upper portion of your digestive tract. In order for us to break things down, we need two things, and that's acid and enzymes. And acid triggers a lot of the enzymes, especially the ones in the stomach. This is where we get virtually all the benefits of vinegar, of acetic acid, of apple cider vinegar. So a lot of people, they think that acid is a bad thing. They've heard over and over and over that vegetables and fruit, they're alkaline, they're good for you, and acid is terrible for you. Well, that's a myth, because your body has different pHs. There's different pH in different body fluids, in different compartments for different purposes. So let's just talk a little bit about pH. So in your mouth, you have neutral pH. It's right around 7. Your saliva is supposed to be neutral. And in your mouth, when you chew, you also have certain enzymes there that don't need acid to be triggered. It's called salivary amylase, and it starts breaking down carbohydrates. So animals who eat mostly carbohydrates, or herbivores, they don't need a whole lot of acid. But animals who need to break down protein, who eat meat, omnivores or carnivores, they need a whole lot more acid. What we have to understand about the pH scale is that it's logarithmic, and you don't have to understand anything about that except that for every number that the pH goes down, it becomes 10 times more acidic. So 6 is 10 times more acidic than 7. 5 is 100 times more acidic than 7. 4 is 1,000 times more. 3 is 10,000 times more. 2 is 100,000. 1 is 1,000,000. And 0 pH is 10 million times more acidic than neutral. So what does that mean? Well, apple cider vinegar has a pH of around 3.5. That means it's about 5,000 times more acidic than neutral, than water. But the human digestive tract is designed to break down protein. We are an omnivore. We have the ability to break down protein, and our normal pH is somewhere between 2 and 3 when we eat something that needs protein breakdown. So we're about 50,000 times more acidic than water, and we're about 10 times more acidic than apple cider vinegar. So how can apple cider vinegar help? Well, we're going to get to that in a few moments. I want to touch a little bit on the claims that people have, like there's so much anecdotal evidence. I've seen videos talk about, oh, you should take it in the morning because it gives you energy. You'll be energized for the day.
I heard a lot of this when I've been researching, and there are people out there. There is a lot of miscommunication, or I'm not going to say misinformation about apple cider vinegar, its benefits. He's going to go through those real quick here, but yeah, I was just going to say that I've seen that, and the struggle is, well, how do you get quality information? That's why you have to listen to a lot of people and know your own system.
Well, there is no energy in apple cider vinegar per se. It's more like if you bite down into a lemon, you get a shock from the taste effect, from the acidity. And this is kind of the same way. You're going to wake up. And it's not a bad thing, but it's not like it gives you energy. Apple cider vinegar is very popular for skin treatment and dandruff treatment and hair treatment. And there's some truth to that because your skin is a little bit acidic and you have a bacterial culture. Just like you have a biome, you have a culture of bacteria in your gut, you have a culture of bacteria in your skin and on your genitals and so forth. And it likes to be a little bit acidic. So if you apply acetic acid like in the form of apple cider vinegar, then you're going to lower the pH. So here's the thing though, you want to be careful because apple cider vinegar is a whole lot more acidic than what your skin likes. So you want to dilute it first. Acids, especially if you use a lot of them, you could probably get some irritation or possibly burns if you use a lot. So just dilute it and be careful with that. It has been claimed to whiten teeth. And whether that works or not, I tell you, do not do that. Acid erodes enamel. It is possibly one of the worst things that you could do for your teeth. Whether it works or not, don't even try to find out. It has been said to reduce the absorption of carbs. And again, whether that is true or not, if that is a benefit or if that is an effect, it is certainly not a benefit because we eat food because we're supposed to absorb it. And you don't take apple cider vinegar to reduce the absorption of carbs, you eat less carbs.
I'm going to stop there a little bit and lean into on some of the things I wanted to say is exactly eating less carbs, fasting, controlling your diet is key. I've been studying this again for my own health. Um, so that, you have to know yourself and you have to try different diets and see what works for you. Your systems are going to be different. He's going to talk in a minute about hypothyroidism, which I have. That affects how I break down, how my system works. He also talks about stress. I'll call it hypothyroidism. Your pituitary is not talking to your thyroid, and it can create a lot of stress on your system and emotional stress, and you're not seeing the world as you should. And all of that's going to play into not just gaining weight, but also being healthy. Um, so I wrote that like every morning I will get a bunch of vitamins, and I'll get some. My wife has some herbs and things, and I'll take it with water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and put all of this concoction together. Sometimes I'll put the zinc in my coffee and let it kind of dilute and sip on it because zinc upsets my stomach a lot. And sometimes you better have bread or some meat ready to eat just in case. But every day, taking some stuff, even olive oil. Olive oil is good for your exterior. It's good for your skin. It's even mentioned in the Bible that using olive oil to make your skin glow. It's good for your exterior. It's also good for the interior a little bit. Coconut oil is good. Just put it all into a collage. Try some different things. If you need some honey to put with your apple cider vinegar, you just use a cap with 8 ounces. I'm going to put in a little honey, stir it all together, kind of make a concoction. If you're a man, get a little cayenne pepper, not a lot, and put it in there. That's good for your circulatory system. If you can find raw beets, that's also good for you too. Kind of put a little beet juice in there. So that's what I'll do in the morning, and that's that kind of getting things started. And I want good, proper digestion. That's key, what he's leaning to. You're not going to lose weight doing this, but you're going to help your digestion. One last thing I'll lean into is how this helps with regularity. You have to get to know your stool. You've got to know clumpy versus firm versus milky. You don't want the very clumpy and you don't want the real milky. You want something kind of in the middle. It sounds odd to say, but a lot of people, especially those trying to lose weight and stay healthy, have to understand what a healthy stool looks like. But I didn't want to lean in too much on this, but I like what he said there. Eat less carbs. I'm going to let him finish off for about 5 more minutes or so, and I might not convince anymore. But my main takeaway is getting apple cider vinegar as a part of your digestive regimen. Small anecdotal story today. I was kind of having some acid reflux of something that I'd eaten today, plus I drink a lot of coffee. That's a problem. But instead of taking antacids, and he'll say bad things about antacids in a minute, um, go and relieve yourself. Go and get rid of some stool. The stuff will then filter down. If it's percolating up, you want it to go down. And apple cider vinegar plus other things will help with regularity. If you need that whole systemic understanding. Anyway, I like Dr. Stefan. Um, Dr. Ekberg, sorry. His first name is Sten, 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 Dr. Ekberg. Um, and I think he's got good information. Subscribe to him, like he was saying. I'm going to let him go for about 5 more minutes or so, but this is very good information. But the main thing, my main takeaway is proper digestion, not letting stuff rot in your gut, not letting stuff sit there and then bind up, or you're eating stuff that's binding up at the other end and creating all this problem. So you wonder why you're not losing weight. It's because you're not digesting out of your system what you have. Anyway, I'm going to let him finish off with this. Please watch the whole thing. I found it very interesting, but I only wanted to show the first 13 minutes or so.
Because if you put them in your body and you don't absorb them, guess what happens? They end up being food for your pathogenic bacteria, and you set yourself up for a host of digestive problems. You can use vinegar for a cleaning agent, and sure, that works. Acid breaks things down, but in this case, I would use white vinegar because it has the exact same effect, but it's cleaner. And if you're trying to clean something, you don't want to put the unfiltered mother on your stuff because you probably have to wipe that off afterwards. What we want to understand about this is that there are some benefits, and we'll talk a little bit in more detail, but we once and for all want to get past the idea of using it as a remedy. Don't use it as a medication. Don't use it as a magic pill. So many people ask the question, well, does it work? Who cares? We want to find out how it works, because if it works but it creates another imbalance, then we're worse off, all right? So we always want to figure out, how does it work, and is the end result beneficial, because then it's a good thing to do. So never ask yourself whether it works. Never take something for something. Don't take it because you have an upset stomach or because you have this or that, all right? So it only has benefit. Apple cider vinegar can only have benefit if it gives you something you need, which it doesn't really. It doesn't really have any nutrients, or if it solves a problem, if it adds something that's missing. So it's not like it adds a nutrient, but it can add a little bit of something you're missing. And what is that? We said that the human stomach should be as low a pH as between 2 and 3. And a lot of people, they dismiss apple cider vinegar and said that, oh, well, you know, it can't possibly help because it's not as acidic as the human stomach already is. Well, where they're mistaken is that they are assuming that everyone has the optimal pH to start with.
And that's where I was leaning in, the assumption that everyone has a good pH in their stomach. Well, you don't. You need to find that out.
Everyone is making enough hydrochloric acid. So let's look at what are the factors that interfere with the production of hydrochloric acid. Well, first of all, stress. Everything in your body, the production of acid, the production of enzymes, everything to do with digestion is shut down or reduced by stress, because your body is reprioritizing its resources. And anytime you're stressed, it says, digestion is not really important right now, let's do that later. So when you are stressed, you're making less hydrochloric acid, less enzymes. If you eat too much protein, or if you eat too much protein for the amount of hydrochloric acid you produce, because hydrochloric acid is primarily to break down protein. So the more protein you eat, the more hydrochloric acid you need.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people who don't like meat, it's because they're not making enough hydrochloric acid. So their bodies are telling them, hey, this doesn't taste very good because I'm not going to be able to break it down. You could have a lack of vitamins or minerals like B1 or zinc. They're necessary for the production of hydrochloric acid. Alcohol interferes with the production of hydrochloric acid. And of course, the big granddaddy of all double, triple whammies is antacids. It's the absolute worst thing that you can do for your digestion.
I'm done.
Because the acid is there for a reason. And if you add an antacid, you are shutting off any ability of your body to break down food. Any ability to complete that process of breaking down the protein is lost when you take an antacid. And you're setting yourself up for leaky gut and allergies and bloating and dysbiosis and so forth. It solves a short-term problem. It makes it worse next time around. So this is kind of what we said with, does it work? Sure, but it relieves the burning, but it creates a bigger problem. So we don't really care if it works. We want to understand the mechanism. If you are hypopituitary, why? Because the pituitary stimulates the thyroid, and when your thyroid slows down, everything in your body slows down, including the production of hydrochloric acid. And another thing is, if you've had bariatric surgery, then most of your ability to produce hydrochloric acid is gone. So again, when they're dismissing apple cider vinegar and saying that it can't compete with stomach acid, they're assuming that stomach acid is being produced. But with all of these things going on, you can probably agree that 50% or more of people are probably not making enough hydrochloric acid.
And I think that's where I want to stop. Like I said, it's a good video. Please watch the whole thing. My takeaway is I'm probably not making enough hydrochloric acid in my stomach, and I need help from time to time. And hitting this once or twice a day, it'll help clean things out and help keep me going. So please watch his videos. He has several other wonderful videos. This one especially, if you're dieting or you're trying to lose weight or you're struggling with hypothyroidism or even hyperthyroidism, I think this would affect both. Anything that creates stress on your system, please see what you can do.